Welcome back. You're still tuned into Market Fatafat, and this is a show where we discuss all the stocks that are buzzing in trade today. But first up, let's get started and let's talk about diagnostic stocks because the entire sector is in focus today. And this after competition is set to intensify in the space. Amazon India has launched home diagnostic services in 6 cities of India. So competition seems to be intensifying in a sector where pricing has already been a concern. In fact, Amazon India has expanded healthcare services with at-home diagnostics, which is an online pharmacy, and virtual doctor consultations for seamless patient care. So Thyrocare, Dr. Lal and other stocks within the diagnostic space are likely to be under pressure, and all of them are sitting with cuts of nearly 1.5 to 3.5% today on the back of this news piece.
All right, so moving on from the diagnostic space to the metal pack, that is also shining in trade today with gains of 1%. Entire metal counters are in focus on the back of a note by Macquarie, where Macquarie on Tata Steel, it's maintaining an outperform. The target price has been raised to 181 rupees. JSW Steel, they're maintaining a neutral stance, but the target price has been raised to 1,125 rupees. And for Hindalco also, they're maintaining an outperform, and the target price here has been cut to 709 rupees. Now, the Macquarie prefers ferrous stock, citing strong domestic demand fundamentals. Also, steel companies are expected to benefit from the improved ROE profiles and deleveraging. Hindalco's near-term upside may be capped due to the global business uncertainties, and Macquarie believes that a net debt for steel companies peaked in financial year 2025, with a decline expected over the next 2 years. JSW Steel remains the top pick, and on the back of that, all steel counters are in focus today.
Alright, but let's keep it going with the metal sector then. Hilton Metal will see good growth in the near future because of its strategic planning and well-equipped team, indicating, says Sharan Lillaney, independent expert. He also says that it is a good buy. Listen in to what he had to say.
So basically, it's got a right certification to produce forged railway wheels. And now look at the growth that's going to come in. The company already has a capacity of 20,000 wheel sets. So in FY26, they estimate to supply around 3,000 wheel sets, around 12,000 wheel sets. And I think by 20th, they'll supply 100% of their capacity, around 20,000 wheel sets to the railway. This gives an opportunity to the company to increase their turnover by around 200 to 300 crores. Currently, the company does around 165 odd crores. Now, the best part is the company is already equipped with the expertise. It's already manufactured high-grade forged components for oil and gas, petrochemicals, marine sector. So overall, I think it's a very, very positive thing for the company. Basically, it's an entry ticket to a 1,000 crore revenue over the next 5 to 10 years. So finally, I think the company is capacity ready, government certified, demand capacity already there. Demand is very strong. It is strategically positioned. So overall, I think it's a very strong buy.
All right, moving on then, Ravinder, coming to you. You picked up Godrej Properties for us. What's the news for here?
Well, as Godrej Properties is in focus, the company has announced that it has sold inventory worth rupees 2,000 crore during the launch of the first phase of a project at Godrej MSR City located in Devanhalli, Bangalore, which is launched in April 2025, and this is the most successful launch ever in the North Bangalore micro market in the terms of value and volumes of sales achieved. The company says that the Godrej MSR City has a developable potential of 5.6 million square feet and has a significant unlaunched inventory remaining, which the company plans to sell in the coming years. So back of this, Godrej Property is in focus. Though stock has shown a recovery from base low of approx 1%, but it is still in the cut of approx 1%.
Okay, so the stock is sitting with a cut of nearly 0.7% as we speak. But shifting focus to the rice sector then, LT Foods. This one is in focus today, and on the back of rising geopolitical tensions, and this because India exports basmati rice to Iran and Israel region. So basmati rice trade has been hit on account of Israel-Iran conflict, and that is the reason all of these rice stocks continue to be in focus today. LT Foods, as we speak, is down nearly 8%. But there is another news piece over here with respect to company's subsidiary, where US Department of Commerce has imposed the highest possible countervailing duty of 340% on organic soybean meal exports, and this is for the company's wholly owned subsidiary. So both negative news pieces over here, because of which the stock is sitting with a cut of nearly 8% today.
All right, moving on then. Coming to you, Ruchit, you picked up BSE for us. Tell us what's on the charts for BSE, because BSE is, one counter that has really run up quite a bit. Do you see more steam left today? Also, BSE is trading with gains of more than 3.5%. Last 6 months, 50% gains coming in on BSE. More steam left, more upside, or is it time to book profits on BSE?
Yeah, hi, very good afternoon. Well, basically, we have seen this entire exchange theme showing a good momentum over past few months. And this theme is still showing more signs of strength. Now, BSE have seen some correction recently from 3,000 to 2,500. Some nervousness was there recently when there was an announcement of expiry day change. But it seems that the stock has absorbed that. That news has been factored in, and the prices have seen a resumption of the broader uptrend. So I think in the near term we could see levels back to around 3,000, which the recent swing highs. So overall trend, I think, remains intact, and that high top, high bottom structure should continue for now.
On then from BSE, more steam left there as far as capital market theme is concerned. It continues to edge forward, but let's move on to the next counter, and that is Cholamandalam Finance. That is in focus today on the back of a note by Jefferies. Now, Jefferies has come out with a note that maintains a buy on Chola Finance with a target price of 1,800 rupees. They say that the first quarter saw softer growth and asset quality, though recovery is expected if the monsoon is good. Now, the management expects 10 to 15% basis points in NIM expansion and stable credit costs. Weaker trends may weigh on the stock in the near term, but Jefferies sees this as a buying opportunity. Cost ratios should ease by financial year 2027, boosting the ROA and ROE. On the back of that, they're maintaining a buy call. On the back of that, Chola Investment Finance is up 1.6%.
But let's also talk about Jio Financial Services. Ruchit, you've picked up this stock for us. The stock is up nearly 0.1%, barely any gains today, 294. Where do you see the stock headed from here on?
Last 2 weeks, we have seen some consolidation in the stock, but in this entire consolidation, whenever the stock is coming around the 285, we are witnessing a good buying interest over there. So, from a risk-reward ratio perspective, although the stock has not rallied much today, but I think this is a good point where the price-wise downside seems to be limited in the stock. And if we see a resumption of the uptrend, then one can expect levels around 310 in very short term. So, the trade setup is positive, is good, as the risk-reward ratio is favorable at current levels. Short-term traders should go along with stop loss below 285 for potential targets around 310.
All right, moving on then. Rabinder, you picked up the entire IT pack for us. Tell us what's the news flow for picking the IT stocks.
Well, as entire IT pack is in focus, where Accenture has announced its Q3 FY25 number for the May ending 2025, and company reported a revenue at $17.7 million, an increase of 8% in US dollar term and 7% increase in local currency. Whereas new booking for the third quarter of fiscal year 25 were $19.7 billion, and decrease of 6% in dollar term and 7% in local currency compared to the third quarter of the fiscal 24. And the operating margin, company reported operating margin at 16.8%, an increase of 80 basis points. And the generative AI new booking was at $1.5 billion. If you look about the outlook, then for Q4 FY25, company said that the revenue to be between 17 to $17.6 billion, and for the full year, then the company said that the revenue growth guidance in the local currency to be 6 to 7% as compared to earlier of 5 to 7%. So back of this entire IT pack is in focus, though Nifty and of the back of this Nifty IT is in down more than 1%.
Okay, so the entire sector in focus on the back of this, but HDFC Bank, Ruchit, you've picked up this private sector major for us. Tell us, where do you see the stock headed?
So we believe that this is one of the heavyweight which should lead the Bank Nifty higher in case of any kind of positive move coming in going ahead. Because last 1.5 months we are not seeing any significant price-wise action in the stock, but rather is this entire consolidated within a range with 50-day exponential moving average acting as a very crucial support for the stock. So I think this entire consolidation of last 1.5 months seems to be more of a time-wise correction within an uptrend. And once this time-wise correction is over, we expect a resumption of the up move in HDFC Bank from current levels. So the risk-reward ratio is quite favorable over here. With keeping a stop loss below 1900, I think positional traders can look for buying opportunities in this stock for potential targets around 2030.
That's the view coming in on HDFC Bank, but let's put the spotlight on the new listing of the day, and that is Aditya Birla Lifestyle. It got listed at 167 rupees per share versus discovery price of 171 rupees per share. This, remember, completes the demerger of Aditya Birla Group's fashion business into two independent listed entities. We also have a Motilal Oswal report where they have assumed coverage with a neutral rating. They've given a target price of 190. They believe the company could report a 10% revenue CAGR over the next few years. They expect company to expand their gross margins by about 80 basis points and EBITDA margins by about 140 basis points to 16.6% over the next few years. So the outlook with respect to revenue guidance and margin expansion continues to remain very positive. The stock got listed on the bourses today. It is currently trading at about 158 odd levels.
Alright, keeping with that demerger and listing Aditya Birla Lifestyle demerging from Aditya Birla Fashion, and while it lists on the bourses with an eye on value unlocking and demanding for fair valuations, Chairman K.M. Birla says it marks the scale of opportunity for the industry. MD Ashish Dikshit shares the company's growth roadmap ahead. Let's go across and listen in.
Over next 5 years, we look to double our footprint, which means grow our network that much as well as revenues by that amount.
How are you looking to strengthen some of your brands, like say Peter England is there, Reebok is there, American Eagle? How are you looking to build the brand presence for these?
So we have brands which have proven formula over a long period of time. These brands have grown through 2.5 decades as consumers have changed, channels have shifted, and they have contemporized themselves at all periods of time. We also have emerging portfolio businesses which are relatively new to our portfolio, whether it is Reebok or the innerwear business as well as the American Eagle business. And I think clearly they have a larger runway and a faster growth possibility for them. One of the reasons for lifestyle brands, particularly an ABLBL portfolio, which will give new impetus and thrust, is really the capital. It's a very, as you know, it's a very strong free cash flow generating business with very high ROC. We now have that capital available for these businesses to grow themselves. In immediate terms, next 1 or 2 years, we will see far more rapid expansion of retail network. We have spoken about 300 plus store addition in this year itself. And I think therefore in next 2-3 years, the growth acceleration will be driven by footprint expansion, but over a period of time, brand extensions, new categories, and organic growth of the market itself will drive the business forward.
That's the view coming in from the Managing Director of Aditya Birla Lifestyle Brands, the newest listing on the bourses. But let's also put the spotlight on Bharat Dynamics. Ruchit, this stock is up nearly 70% on a year-to-date basis because of the run-up that we have seen in the defense sector. Tell us, where do you see the stock headed from here on?
So we believe that defense as a space should continue to show a good relative outperformance compared to the broader markets. And stocks such as BEL, BEML, we can see that this entire up move in the sector has been led by good price volume action as well. Now Bharat Dynamics has been trading around its 20-day EMA support. The momentum seems to be positive as the recent price up moves have been supported by good volumes, whereas on corrections we have not seen any kind of volume-based selling happening over here. So we expect the stock to do well in the near term. So short-term traders can look for buying opportunities in Bharat Dynamics with stop loss below 1880 for potential targets around 2100.
All right, with that, we've come to end of Fatafat and all the buzzers. For that, Ravinder and Ruchit, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining us today. And with that, it's time for us to slip into a short break. Don't go anywhere. After the break, we get you more market updates. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're still tuned into Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. But let's now put the spotlight on some global stories then. And the United States has officially entered the Israel-Iran war. Trump confirmed the American forces carried out massive airstrikes on 3 of Iran's major nuclear sites, Fordo, Natanz and Isfahan, using B-2 stealth bombers and over 30 Tomahawk missiles launched from Navy submarines. Trump hailed the operation as a precision success and warned Iran there are many targets left. He added that the United States and Israel work together like no team ever before. In the latest developments from the Middle East, IDF said it has struck 6 airports and destroyed fighter jets and helicopters. The IDF team claimed that the jets that were destroyed by their military were intended for use against their aircraft and to thwart Israel's attacks on Iranian military. Let's go across and listen into Trump's justification on the attack and how Iran is planning to retaliate.
The U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do.
This mission was not and has not been about regime change. The President authorized a precision operation to neutralize the threats to our national interests posed by the Iranian nuclear program and the collective self-defense of our troops and our ally Israel.
The warmongering and lawless administration in Washington is solely and fully responsible for the dangerous consequences and far-reaching implications of its act of aggression.
And the U.S. Security Council met as tensions soared. Russia, China and Pakistan called for an immediate unconditional ceasefire across the Middle East, pushing for a draft resolution under review. Secretary General Antonio Guterres warned that the bombing marked a perilous turn, urging urgent diplomacy. But the U.S. defended its actions, with Ambassador Dorothy Shea insisting Iran's nuclear ambition had to be stopped. Russia and China condemned the strikes, with Moscow accusing Washington of repeating Iraq-style fairy tales. Iran called the strikes blatant aggression and demanded global condemnation. A vote on the ceasefire resolution could come later this week, but U.S. opposition makes its passage unlikely.
And back home, Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a call from Iranian President, who briefed him on the escalating Iran-Israel conflict. PM Modi expressed deep concerns, calling for de-escalation and a return to diplomacy. The leaders reaffirmed their commitment to bilateral ties, and President assured continued support for the safety of Indian nationals. Sumita Karir is now joining us with more details on the Iran-Israel ties. Sumita, over to you.
Right. So the United States and Iran have clashed at the emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council on American warplanes and submarines. This was after these warplanes and submarines attacked 3 main Iranian nuclear sites. In fact, sharp criticism was leveled at Washington and its allies as diplomatic tensions are deepening in the Middle East. And in fact, Russia called the recent strikes on Iran that they have opened a Pandora's box. Meanwhile, Russia, China and Pakistan have proposed a resolution demanding an immediate and unconditional ceasefire. The United Nations Security General Antonio Guterres has called the bombing of Iranian nuclear facilities by the United States, and that it marks a perilous turn. Acting U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations Dorothy Shea added that they aimed to dismantle Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and stop the nuclear threat that was posed by the world's foremost state sponsor of terror. Meanwhile, Iran's representative to the United Nations said that the U.S. strikes were a blatant crime, and he also accused the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of drawing Donald Trump into the conflict. Meanwhile, from the Indian side, well, India has started evacuating. It's currently ongoing. These operations are going on as far as evacuation operations of Indians from Israel is concerned. And of course, the MEA stated that, their travel, the people will be facilitated through the land borders and thereafter by India. So that's as far as the evacuation updates are concern, and of course the safety of Indian nationals is India's topmost priority. Meanwhile, India launched Operation Sindhu to evacuate its nationals from Iran as well, wherein more than 800 nationals have been evacuated. Other than that, of course, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke with the Iranian president, and of course the Prime Minister called for an immediate de-escalation. He reiterated the call for a diplomatic solution and thanked the president for repatriation of Indians. Meanwhile, Iran's president called India a friend and a partner in promoting regional peace, security and stability.
All right, with that, it's curtains down on this edition of Market Fatafat. Stay tuned for more action on the other side. It's a goodbye from me, Ashesha, and the entire team that put this show together.
in association with SBI. 7